Derek Gillette here, and want to go through some of the big shifts we've seen over the last week with the Canadian economy, the housing market, mortgage rates, and a couple other things to do with our local market. I'm going to try and condense that down into 3 minutes so that I can get through this as quickly as possible. As we know, the tariffs that have been flipping on and off are creating market jitters, whether that's a stock market or real estate. We know that real estate is a big ticket item and buyers crave stability. And anything that's uncertain, they'll start sitting on the sidelines. And we typically are seeing that exact thing where buyers are on pause just to see what happens. More in the higher price points, but I'll get to those in a second. Obviously, the other thing that everybody knows is that Mark Carney is officially Canada's new Prime Minister. Known as the global former Governor of Bank of Canada. Carney's got some bold climate policies. He's a founder of the Glasgow Financial Alliance for net zero. And that kind of policy can significantly reshape Canada's natural resource industry. No, definitely a situation worth watching. And again, this is about politics. But of course, as everybody knows, Canada's GDP, around 25 to 30%, is natural resources versus the US, which is, I think, around 3%. So any of these policies could hurt our economy at a time when we definitely need to see our economy grow in the other direction. Now, many of the headlines we've seen over the past have been about housing shortage and housing crisis, and that's been mostly Toronto and Vancouver. Of course, we're now seeing a significant jump in housing supply, mostly condos. Toronto alone saw over 5,000 new rental units and a staggering 30,000 new condos hit the market last year. So ground zero, when you're looking at the real estate market and what's going on, typically is in the Toronto area, and I'll get into that a bit more. And remember, these projects did start a few years ago when financing was cheap and construction costs were a lot more manageable. You look at when, talking to current, contractor now building buildings, drywall itself is going up in price due to these tariffs, because I think most of the drywall we get is coming in from the United States as well. So that's important on how they budget for the future. Now, any of these completed high-rise condos that are coming onto the market were bought by investors. Those investors now, with this sudden surge, typically wanting to flip them, are turning them into rental units. And that's why we're seeing this drop in rent values. I think it's around 5% nationally. Now that's great news if you're a renter, less so if you're a landlord. And unfortunately, this has also affected some home sales as they did adjust from January to February. Activity recorded on the Canadian MLS system dropped just under 10% month over month. I think that is probably the largest drop in sales since November 2023 and the largest month over month decline since May of 2022. The trend was most pronounced, of course, in the Toronto area, which represents exactly what we were talking about, is the on and offs with the tariffs, because Toronto is impacted by that the most, manufacturing, etc. Now, some of the condo experts, like Bob Rennie, was in Vancouver doing a discussion on different things can be done, was pitching an idea to Carney, controversial in some ways, which was reopening the Canadian market to more foreign investors again, with the potential of using government CMHC loans. And in the fine print, the properties must remain rentals for a period of 20, 25 years. They can't just buy them, flip them, leave them vacant. So I'm a proponent of doing something like that, where you can't just simply do that and it's on title that this property is an investment property, but not using CMHC, coming in with your own investment money and buying those property. That could help stabilize the condo market and the changes you're seeing in Vancouver and in mostly Toronto. In our local market, again, we're a little different because we don't have the supply, and a lot of people that are moving from those areas, taking money off the table, want a better, different lifestyle, a more affordable lifestyle. And with our average home price being what it is, that's why we're still getting some activity. Now, single family home sales were around 220 last month. That is down 37% compared to last year. But interestingly, it was a 33% jump from January. While the spring bounce is normal, buyers are being still a little bit selective about price and affordability. With inventories slowly rising, they're still far from balanced, keeping pressure on prices as we move forward. anything like 500,000 up to 900,000 we're selling, still very, it's very active. Some still multiple offers. It's the upper price that's being a little bit more sticky on that. On the mortgage front, Bank of Canada dropped interest rates again to 2.75%. I think we're going to see more cuts ahead with the economy, possibly 2% by the end of the year. Variable rate mortgages remain around 4.25%, with 36% of borrowers still choosing those because they believe rates are going to come down. So when they come down, they'll be able to lock in at a better rate. And those that want stability, fixed rates are around 4% and still remain attractive as well, giving people a peace of mind. So conclusion, the Canadian housing and mortgage scene is anything but dull right now. New leadership in, there's bold proposals to how to help with the condo market and some of the market dynamics that are shifting, something we're watching very closely to help everybody with their investments on this side. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I have another update for you. Thanks again.